Hi there, so welcome to Chimp on Cars. We've got a video here today about insurance, learner insurance. So really important subject because you do need to be adequately insured if you're going to drive a car on the roads. So when you're out practicing with your driving instructor, they're a professional, they will be insured, you can drive their car and they'll maintain that policy. That's absolutely fine. Is what we're talking about here is when you're practicing in your car or your parents' car or even a friend's car. The insurance then is obviously down to you. You are the learner, you are the driver of the car, I should say. You are the one that needs to be insured. Now we've got a couple of options. One option of course is to get put onto another person's policy. So if it's your parents' car, for example, you can get added to their policy, and that will obviously increase their premium. It will affect their no claims discount if you was to have an accident, for example. So that's one option. I'm going to talk to you about the option also of you can get your own insurance, where the policy is yours, and there's a link in the description below for a company that I recommend. They specialise in learner insurance, and they can do short-term policies, long-term policies. They can tailor it to your needs, and use the link below. And I do get, it is an affiliate link, I will get a couple of quid if you take out a policy, and I'll put that towards the channel. But do genuinely recommend them. It's their specialist subject, so give them a try. So this channel is about learning to drive, so if you've not already subscribed, then obviously do so. I would fully recommend that. We've got some great stuff coming up on parallel parking. We've already done reversing around the corner. We've got loads of other little things coming up that will help you to pass your driving test, hopefully first time. So click on subscribe, see what we've got coming up, and hopefully you'll get some value from it. So let's get back to the insurance then. So the policy will be yours. So it'll be up to you to maintain it and ensure that it's fully paid up, and to be aware of the T's and C's that are attached to it. So you will need somebody to come out and supervise you whilst you're driving. So let's say it's in your parents' car. Then you need somebody, possibly a parent, to come out and supervise you. I've got some tips on how they can do that, so feel free to show this to your supervising, the person that's going to accompany you when you're practicing out in the car. Hopefully I can give them a couple of tips on how they can help you to pass your test. And practicing in your own car is a really, really important thing. I've been a driving instructor since 2006, and the guys that I've taught that have practiced in their own cars have done so much better on the driving test. They've looked far more confident, and they've become safer drivers as a result. If it's done correctly, then it's a really, really good thing. Can't recommend it highly enough. So a couple of things you need to be aware of though. The supervisor, the person that's watching over you whilst you're learning, they need to be at least 21 years old and to have held a full licence for at least 3 years. That's the standard rules. Now, obviously, the insurance policy that you take out might say that they've got to be a bit older or they've got to have held a licence for longer. Obviously, then you have to go by those rules. But the standard rule is that they've got to be at least 21 and they've got to have held a licence for at least 3 years. So you need to be abiding by that. And the license they've been holding. So if they can only drive an automatic car, for example, then they can only supervise you if you're driving in an automatic car as well. You know, that's, so they've got to have the category of license for the last 3 years for which they're supervising you in. So that's really important, particularly if you're learning in a van or a lorry or whatever else, then that same rule always applies. So the person that's supervising also needs to be in a fit state to supervise. So shouldn't have to say it, but obviously they shouldn't be drunk, they shouldn't be on drugs, and they shouldn't be making phone calls or texting or anything like that. All the things that they would not be doing if they were driving the car, they can't be doing if they're supervising you. It's as if they're driving themselves. They need to be responsible and in a fit state to supervise you whilst you're learning. So really important points for the person that's supervising you are that they can help you most by taking you on appropriate roads for your level of skill. And, you know, it's a really good idea to set an objective, to go out with, you know, something in mind. You know, maybe it's reversing around corners, or maybe it's a bit of parking. You know, you're going out to do something in particular rather than just going for a general drive. You might find that a good way of reducing stress and, you know, knowing what's expected at the start before you start going out for this practice. And you're going to get a lot more from it if you do it that way. Now, I've helped loads of people over the years who have had arguments or whatever with their parents, and it's often because the parents are nervous. You know, they're not going to maybe say they're nervous, but they're certainly going to be nervous, particularly if it's their car that's being driven. So really good idea to go to appropriate areas. Don't go on a motorway. Well, you're not allowed on a motorway, but don't go on a dual carriageway if you're not ready for dual carriageways. For example, start off easy, work up to the more busier roads. As you get better as a learner and more experience in getting closer to your test, then maybe the person that's supervising you will take you onto faster roads, busier roads, and just try and think about where you're heading and what you're going to try and do before you head out. Really good advice is to stay calm whilst you're instructing your son, your daughter, your friend, whoever it is you're helping out as a supervising driver, and the person, the learner. Really important that you stay calm as well. Remember that the person that's supervising you isn't a professional driving instructor. I've been a driving instructor since 2006, and there's very little that will shock me, very little that will worry me. Whereas your parent will maybe get shocked or worried a lot easier than I would, for example. So if everyone can stay stress-free and calm in the car, then more will get done and you'll go out more often and do more practice. And, that can only be a good thing, can't it? The more practice you're getting out with a parent, the less you have to spend on driving lessons and the better your chances are going to be of passing a test. Now, I touched on motorways earlier on. Now, as you probably know, you can go out on a motorway with your driving instructor. With a fully qualified driving instructor, they can take you out on a motorway, and that's really good practice. And if you live close enough to a motorway, I'm sure your instructor will do that with you before your test, and certainly after your test on a quick lesson if you've not done it before your test. But when you're with a parent or a friend or a supervising driver of any description, they cannot take you out on a motorway. It's one of those rules. It's there for safety. Just bear that in mind. And another rule that's really important that I've not mentioned already is that you do need to have L plates on display on the car. Or D plates in Wales as they are. So so these plates, they need to be displayed, one at the front, one at the back, properly displayed. You can find the rules online for how to display L plates and D plates on cars, and that must be at all times, they must be on display for the other road users, because they need to know that you're on a driving lesson, don't they, to help them, to maybe help you. So there are my quick top tips. Hopefully they've helped. Do subscribe to see what else we've got coming up, and let me know in the comments below what else would you like us to cover on this channel. It would be great to help you to get what you need to pass your test first time. That would be really good, wouldn't it? So take care, have some good practice out there, and good luck.